act now. Pamosi tiambe.
Together Act Now's 2020 Virtual Gala. My name is Katie Leclerc and I am incredibly honored to be your host for tonight. Over the next half hour, we are looking forward to sharing with you the incredible impact that your support has allowed Together Act Now, or TAN, to have in Malawi to work towards ending AIDS. In case you're wondering who I am and why I was asked to host, I'm an actress. I was best known for playing Daphne Vasquez on ABC Family or Freeform's Switched at Birth, and I currently co-host The Brett Davern Show featuring Katie Leclerc on Adobe Radio. But more importantly than that, I've known Kyle Horn, the founder and executive director of TAN, for 4 glorious years. Fun fact, I also had the pleasure of introducing TAN's county director, Davey, to his first Dodger dog last year at his first American baseball game. Let's go Dodgers! Most importantly of all, I had hoped to go to Malawi this year with Kyle to see all the incredible work that has been happening down there, and I was devastated when COVID-19 stopped that from happening. I do plan to make it there soon, and I am looking forward to seeing the vision of a just, healthy, and prosperous Malawi, free from the burdens of HIV, coming to life. And that is the real reason why I'm here tonight. As an actress, it is incredible to see how actors in Malawi are using theater to change and save lives. How does this work? Well, if you're watching this live, you can use the chat function to the right of me to message with our team and the rest of the community watching. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Be brave. Make some friends. Below me, if you scroll down, you'll find our giving platform. If you're on your computer, you can use both the chat function and the donation function. Hello, looking at you. Please donate. Without any interruptions to the video playing, you won't miss a moment of our performers. So please sit back and enjoy and get out your pocketbooks. We promise to keep tonight moving and not have you here any longer than 30 minutes. With that, I am extremely proud to introduce my dear friend, a certified nonprofit professional and the founder and executive director of Together Act Now, Kyle Horn.
Katie, moni buongi.
Dili bueno. Can you know?
Dili bueno, zikomo.
Zikomo.
That little exchange that Katie and I just did is a standard Malawian greeting that you do with everyone to show respect and to say hello. So, I welcome you to introduce yourself, say moni, say hello over in our chat box. We want to make sure that this still feels like a night of a community coming together, even if it is virtual. So speaking of which, welcome to Together Act Now's 2020 Virtual Gala, and happy International Day of Charity. As many of you know, last year, Together Act Now celebrated our 10-year anniversary with Davey flying over to America, and we had the opportunity to meet with so many of our friends, and it was an incredible experience. We also got to share with you the impact Together Act Now has had over the years, and that impact has only grown. So, in the last 11 years, Together Act Now has educated over 105,000 Malawians on HIV through theatrical educational means, and we've also tested over 10,000 villagers out in their community. In addition to that, we've also rebuilt 45 classrooms, because the longer a kid is in school, the less likely they are to contract HIV. And this is especially true for young girls. So we're incredibly excited about everything that we've continued to do this year, and Davey will be sharing a little bit more about that later. But in the meantime, it brings us to 2020 and what this year has meant for all of us. And I know it has been a difficult year here, and it has been a difficult year in Malawi. When COVID started over there, the country only had 25 ICU beds and 7 ventilators for a population of over 19 million people. I'll let you do the math on how that works out. It's not very good. Together Act Now has continued to work in our communities. We've had to adapt the work that we do so that so that we are maintaining social distance, but we've provided face masks to all of the community members that we work with. We've built and distributed and donated hand washing stations that are called tippy taps. We'll show you some videos of that. And we've really tried to still engage with our community and provide them with HIV education, even in this pandemic. So more on that later, but for now, another thing that's slightly changed is typically I would be flying over to Malawi some point this year to say hello and see how everything's going, but that's not going to happen. So what I thought I might do is share with you one of my favorite stories from about 4 years ago when I was over there for Christmas and New Year's. So it was Christmas Day. Davey and I were having some drinks and we were chatting with his family when he heard that the Gala, which is a spiritual group of a traditional religious group that wears these big wooden face masks and these brightly colored costumes, and they dance in the circle with villagers surrounding them. They kick up dirt with their feet, the drum beats this rhythm in the background, and it's a lot of fun. So Davey heard they were in a nearby village, so we thought, great, we haven't seen them in forever, let's go and watch. So as we get close, I realize that I am the only Azungu, the only foreigner, present. And I slowly start to realize, as Davey also tells me, that I am going to be expected to tip for every single dance. Well, I only brought enough money for a couple drinks for Davey and I because I thought that's all we were doing. So I asked Davey if he had any money and he didn't. So sweating a little bit, we sit down. It was very dusty that year. It had been an extended dry season, so the dirt kind of came up around us and started to settle in on my sweat, which wasn't just from the sweltering heat. I was a little bit nervous too. So as we sat there, I asked for 2 soft drinks. They were warm because the power had been out for a few days, and I had an idea. Davey and I came up with this, that if we got a lot of small bills, that maybe we could tip them after every dance, and that way then we could support at least every dance, even if it wasn't quite the same amount that it should have been. So we asked for that, we got our bills, we're sitting there drinking our very warm Fanta, and the dancing started. It was incredible. And after every dance, the hand would come out, they would look at me, and I'd wad up the money, I'd put it in their hand, and I'd step back, and it worked for a little bit, but then pretty quickly they caught on. And they would take that money out, unroll it, hold it up to the rest of the village, and do this, and the village would roar with laughter. They all thought it was quite funny. So I started to tip a little bit more appropriately, but that meant that we ran out of money really fast. And at that point, I thought it's probably going to be my cue to leave. But this is where it was really cool. The entire community then stepped up. It wasn't about me tipping. It was about everyone coming together and having an amazing time. By the end of the day, I was a little bit parched, but I was really enjoying watching the village up and dancing with the spirits, a few spirits in themselves, and just having a really great time. At that point, a gentleman came up to me and he said that he would like to buy Davey and myself a drink. And I said that wouldn't be necessary, but he insisted, saying that it would be his honor to buy the poorest Azungu in Malawi a beer on Christmas. I look back on this day with fond memories. It's a small representation of how that village came together to help support each other. And that's what I feel very fortunate to be a part of building with Together Act Now. I hope that we are never viewed as the Galewankulu with their hands outstretched, but rather as the community that comes together to lift each other up so that we can fulfill our mission and one day end the spread of HIV. The work TAN is doing in Malawi is not only saving lives through the HIV Educational Theater and access to HIV testing and medicine, it is also helping to create a future where health equity can be realized, and we can hopefully finally move that needle from Malawi being known as an impoverished nation to a flourishing one. So with that, I thank you so much for joining us. This is an incredible community that I feel very fortunate to be a small member of. And with that, I would love to introduce 2 people who are way more important than me, 2 of our district directors from Mangochi, George and Rahima. Thank you.
My name is Lehema and I am a proud Together Act Now member for 10 years.
I'm George Dambiri and I've been with Together Act Now since we started in 2009.
Two of the biggest issues with HIV is there is a lot of HIV stigma and many Malawians cannot afford transport with HIV clinics.
And now with COVID-19, Malawi is struggling even more. There are less services going into villages and less villagers getting into clinics. That is why Together Act Now is so important.
With over 11 years of experience, Together Act Now is solving all of those problems by providing HIV and COVID education, plus HIV testing and HIV medicine directed to the village.
Because of COVID-19, we have adopted our work and temporarily paused our large group events to focus on our community village groups, where we provide weekly education for our local community advocates in 6 villages.
The education we provide is on HIV, and our villagers have been so appreciative for this important work.
We thank you, our supporters, for allowing us to save lives in Malawi. Zigong.
Thanks so much, Rahima and George. It's incredible to hear from the TAN volunteers who are working out in the field, teaching Malawans safe practices to stop the spread of HIV and COVID. We want to make sure that you best understand the work that we do in Malawi. So Kyle will break down what the problem is and what TAN is doing to solve it.
The UNAIDS has set an ambitious goal to end the AIDS epidemic by 2030. And it relies on programs like Together Act Now to be able to meet this mission. So Malawi has made tremendous progress because of programs like Together Act Now and many others that are working hard each and every day. But they are still one of the countries with the highest HIV rates in the world. So let's take a look at what 2030 looks like in UNAIDS' vision. 95% of people living with HIV know their status. 95% of those people will be taking HIV medicine, and 95% of those people will be virally suppressed, which means healthy, and there will be zero discrimination. So they set benchmarks along the way to 2030. So 2020, let's look at what they were hoping to accomplish. It was meant to be 90%, 90%, 90%. So how did Malawi do? Malawi reached 90%, 87%, 89% for all ages. There's also still a lot more work to be done in the 15 to 24-year-old range. Let's take a look at that. Only 53% of those who are positive in this age range know their HIV status, of which only 76% of them are on HIV treatment, of which only 78% of them are virally suppressed. These are numbers that we need to change. So what is the problem? Why is Malawi not able to hit these goals? Access. Access to HIV education, access to HIV testing, access to HIV medication. So while all of these things are free in Malawi, they do usually require the villager to travel to the clinic to receive the test and receive the medicine and receive the education. So what's the problem? It's the fact that Malawians can't afford that transport to the clinic. Together Act Now is fixing that. Instead of expecting people to go to the clinic, we are bringing the services to them. We are bringing HIV education into the village. We are bringing HIV testing into the village. We are bringing mobile HIV medicine clinics into the village. So that is what we are doing first. Second, what we're doing is we're including the villagers in that change process where they are going to become HIV experts so that they can help change and reduce stigma and discrimination in their own village. To see how Together Act Now is working to accomplish all of this, Let's journey together over to Balera village where we can meet 21-year-old Buseji. Her and a few of her friends are spending some time together when they hear a truck coming through the village. A bunch of actors are singing and dancing, and they announce that Together Act Now is coming into their village and that they are going to be performing a play on HIV and to make sure to bring their health passports to be able to go for HIV testing. So they all look at each other. They had wanted to know their status, but they were a little worried. They grab their health passports just in case, and they watch as the truck goes by with kids shouting and cheering and running after it. They head to the meeting tree where they can hear another group of the actors singing and dancing as a crowd starts to come. As the show progresses, she greatly enjoys learning important HIV messages along with the characters in the play. After laughing and singing along, she notices that the hundreds of her villagers are responding and getting involved in the HIV message. What seemed like a stigmatized subject was starting to feel less discriminatory. She feels empowered to go for testing, but a few of her friends, they're not quite sure yet. But she looks over to the testing line and feels confident and goes and joins it. That day changes everything for Buseji. She finds out that she is HIV positive. And of course she is devastated and upset, but she is provided counseling and support in that moment in the village. The counselor lets her know what next steps are and where she needs to be able to go to get further treatment and get her on medication. Well, this changes her entire world. The next week, she hears that Together Act Now is back in the village and that they are here to start groups of community advocates on HIV. She realizes that if she didn't know her HIV status, that there are probably plenty of other of her fellow community members who also don't know their status. And she realizes that she needs to step up and be a part of the process to change this. She and her fellow community members are provided with a week-long HIV intensive workshop by Together Act Now. By the end of that week, her and her community members know that they are HIV experts and they will be able to provide a big difference in their community. Every week they meet and they start working on plays and songs and poems and other performing art pieces with Together Act Now that help address the issues in their community surrounding HIV. Because every village is going to be a little bit different, so we work with them to make sure that their message is tailored to the problems that their community faces. Feeling empowered, the group decides that it is time for them to hold their own HIV play. So Together Act Now helps them get this together, helps bring the community, and not only this time do we bring HIV testers like we did last time, we also bring a mobile medicine clinic that provides free vaccinations, health checkups, and yes, you guessed it, HIV medicine. As the community comes together and they learn from their neighbors about HIV, they realize that the stigma needs to be broken down and that discrimination is not okay. This takes the support from being a hand out to a hand up. As the final song is being sung, Buseji looks over and she sees that same friend who a month ago did not feel comfortable going for testing, standing in the HIV testing line. This only encourages her and excites her to see what they are going to come up with next week to be able to help move their community towards the UNAIDS goals of ending the AIDS epidemic by 2030 or earlier. Buseji was able to participate in the full offerings of TAN, from our first TAN-run Village HIV show, where she received HIV information and HIV testing, to then being a member of our Stronger Together community HIV Village group, to receiving the week-long HIV workshop, and then performing in a community-led play as a mobile medicine clinic provided access to HIV medicine and more to the rest of her community. TAN is proud to be a community-led organization where we recognize that real change comes from within each individual community.
I was amazed when Kyle told me that they can provide a week-long HIV education workshop to their Stronger Together community HIV village group members for only $60 a day, which is a total of $300 for a full week of in-depth in-village HIV education. I can't even go out to dinner in LA for $60. In addition, After the week-long workshop, it only costs $35 per village group follow-up meeting. If you'd like to become a member of making this transformative work happen, please consider donating either $300 to support a week-long education workshop, or consider donating $35 per month to provide ongoing support for a village to receive the assistance that they need far into the future. Your donation will help villagers take ending HIV into their own hands. And listen, this is where the change really happens. The donation form is directly below me. You're able to make your contribution without interrupting this video. Go ahead, click it right now. Oh, wait. See, we're still here. I'm still here and you're still here. And next up, I am so excited to show you some of our work in Malawi, followed by a welcome from our Malawi County Director and fantastic storyteller, my friend, Davey.
As for members of our Together Act Now, I'm very proud to be a member of this club. Thank you.
This group will help me to prevent a lot of things that can destroy my life. That's why I like, because there is a lot of the lessons that I gain.
I like being part of Together, just because, as a human being, I love to change, to be part of and parcel of changing people's life positively. So it's Together's motive is to change people or to help people realize their status.
We teach about how we can go and testing and counseling there, the VCT. So I'm really proud because I'm changing from some life.
Yeah, helping people to know about their HIV status. It also has opened doors for me to HIV awareness. And I was mighty glad the day that I got tested and found negative.
I love Together now because I teach more people about HIV, they know their status, and I learn some different cultures when I go to different areas.
I've always liked to be part of Together now. We've made an impact to a number of villages. We are still moving forward, and the number of people we have reached out to cannot be overemphasized. So I'm just proud and happy to be part of the winning team, which is Together now. Thank you very much. My name is Devin Temangombe Willard, the Malawi Country Director for Together Act Now. The year 2020 has been giving us new experiences. Let me share with you a story that took place at Bolera village when I went to meet the villagers and set up a community group. Well, I was meeting the community members there under a huge tree. And while the meeting was in progress, without my knowledge, one of the participants, a woman, had taken away my bicycle. She had actually gone around the village, spreading the message, a good message about what Together Act Now is doing in their community. Well, after the meeting, it was getting dark and rain showers had started. I could not find my bicycle. One of the participants told me that someone had taken my bicycle and she's going around the village. Well, I started following the bicycle trails until long at last I met with her. What a way to end a day of work. Ladies and gentlemen, COVID-19 has changed our 2020 plans. We planned to adopt 10 villages, conduct 10 shows in each and every one of those 10 villages. We also planned that we could have outreach clinics to places that are far away from health centers. We planned that in each community group, we needed to teach the community members about how to write praise, their own songs and poems, so that they could use these as tools to teach their community members. Well, however, ingenuity is paying us. We have navigated through these challenges by providing ongoing support to these villages through smaller village groups of 20, rather than 150 to 1,000 would usually meet every time we are having a performance. So far, we have adopted 5 villages, and we are teaching the villagers there about HIV and AIDS as well as COVID-19. We have trained over 100 people. We have also distributed over 100 face masks. Dear friends, if you look at our work, this is the time of the year that we need more of your support. We would like to adopt 4 or 5 more villages this year. On top of that, come 2021, we have set a number of goals, realistic goals for us to achieve. We would like to conduct mobile ART clinics. On top of that, we would like to procure our own vehicle so that we can reach out to a lot of communities. We would like to adopt 10 more villages and conduct 10 more shows. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you very much for the continuous support that you give us, Malawians.
Davey, it is so wonderful to see you again, and thank you so much for sharing such a wonderful message with us. And by the way, I'll be sure that I pack a Dodger dog in my bag when I come to Malawi. Now let's watch a little bit of TAN work in action. Then Kyle will share with you what 2021 will hold in store for us, including me going to Malawi, obviously.
If 2020 taught us anything, it's that flexibility is the key to success. And we expect this to be true for 2021. So next year, we expect to expand our Stronger Together Community HIV Village Group programs into an additional 5 villages. So this will expand upon the villages that we're already in, where we can continue to provide near weekly ongoing HIV education work, as well as access to HIV testing and medicine. If we're lucky, we're hoping that Malawi would be able to get a novel coronavirus vaccine by mid-year. If this is the case, we will then also be able to expand and start back up our larger group meetings. In addition, we have had to pause our HIV Arts Festival, which was going to be the first of its kind this year, and we're going to postpone that till it's safe to start it with a large group, and we're hoping that that'll be next year. All of our programming is focused around the idea that if we can make each individual community a part of the change process, we will have longer lasting effects that'll continue through generations.
I can picture all the songs, plays, poems, and dances that are going to be created next year, and how each and every one of them will have an incredible impact in reducing HIV stigma and increasing HIV testing. And now, another heartwarming story from Malawi.
I educate Malawians about HIV.
I help to spread the message and not the virus.
I'm proud to be part of Together Act Now.
I'll teach my family and my relative about HIV and AIDS in Together Act Now.
I am proud to know my HIV status.
I'm proud to know my HIV status.
I'm proud to know my HIV status.
I'm so proud to be a part of Together Act Now.
It is now the time of the night that I am honored to be able to ask you to partner with us in making a difference in Malawi by ending HIV. It truly is a privilege to be able to invite you to join Together Act Now in this mission. We do not have any paid American staff, so whatever you give will be sent directly down to Malawi. I'm also really excited to announce that we've had a couple families come together to create a matching pool, which means that your donation is going to be doubled for the rest of the night. So what impact will your donation have? Well, in Malawi, a little bit goes a long way. For $35, we will be able to provide an entire days-long Stronger Together Community HIV Village group session. $60 will allow that village group to perform their HIV work to hundreds of their own community members. For only $100, your donation will take that same performance and also include a mobile medicine and HIV testing clinic in that village at the same time. $185 will allow the TAN professional troupe of actors to perform their incredible HIV awareness play with HIV testing included. $300 will provide a chock-a-block week full of HIV education with our workshops in a village for a group of community advocates to be able to make them HIV experts. And $1,695 will provide an entire year's worth of near weekly village outreach of all of our programs, from HIV plays to education to support groups, ongoing HIV testing, and multiple mobile medicine clinics. By adopting a village, you will be providing a brighter future for an entire community. Maybe you want to give once, or maybe you want your contribution to have an ongoing impact. If so, please join the Encore, which is our community of heartfelt donors who give monthly, quarterly, or annually because they believe that they can truly make a difference in history. So, feel free to scroll down and use that donation form. If you want to send a check, that information is also down below too. If you have any questions, go ahead and use that chat function. Our team is here to help. And we do recognize that right now is a very hard time for many. So if you can't give, that's completely understandable. But if you can, we do ask that you give for those who can't. Now we have one more video from the field before our closing remarks. Thank you.
I know that you can't be here to see, but I promise you I'm your eyes and ears in Malawi and through all the villages we work in. People are singing their thanks to you. And once we beat COVID, I would like to invite you to come and see the warm heart of Africa. I promise you, we are going to have an amazing time together, and you can see just how much you are doing to make a difference. I humbly ask you to make a contribution to our organization. Together Act Now's campaign is still active, and we hope that we will not only meet our goal, but surpass it. And if we do this, it will mean that there will be more villagers and more Malawians who will receive life-saving support because of you. Zikomo kwambiri.
Thank you, Davey. What more can I say? Other than our mission is built on the strength of our community. And I am truly humbled to be able to be a part of this organization and to work with each and every one of you and everyone over in Malawi as we work towards a just, prosperous, and healthy Malawi free from the burdens of HIV. And I thank you for helping to make that vision possible. So Zikomo kwambili, happy International Day of Charity. And now I'm going to pass it over to my dear friend Katie to close us out. Zikomo.
Well, I must admit that while we're not able to meet in person to celebrate this incredible cause, I am enormously grateful to be able to host the 2020 Together Act Now Gala. And you know what? I think that the name says it perfectly, right? We're all in this together, but we must act now. Together, act now. The TAN community is incredible. And I'm amazed at how each of you have stepped up to provide a future that Malawans desperately deserve. The Together Act Now team will stay on the chat function to answer any questions. So, you know, we're family now. Ask away. We are here for you. And we want you to feel comfortable knowing that we are doing everything that we can. Afterwards, please give us a follow on social media at Together Act Now on Instagram or Facebook to see fun pictures and stories about what your support is doing in Malawi. I'm Katie Leclerc. Thank you so very, very much for joining us together tonight. Stay safe out there. Zikomo!
Together act now. Pamodzi Tiambe.
There can be time where we hit a certain code, when the world must come together as one.
There are people dying. It's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can go on, pretend the day by day that someone, somewhere we soon make a change. We are all a part of God's great big family, and the truth, love is all we need.
We are the world. We are the world. We are the children. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. Let's start giving.
There is just in making. We're saving our life. It's so we make a brighter day.
Just you and me.
Difesico.
Difesico.
Komasoana.
Komasoana.
Tingapangise moyo kusinta. Titandizane.